Hey gamers, today we're going to look at Village, the big box expansion. Let's check it out. Setup for the game is fairly simple. What you're going to do is place out the board. You're going to place the ring token here. You're going to put cubes on every area based on what expansion, how many players. So you look at how many players. If you're playing with no expansions, or if you're playing with 2 expansions, or all the expansions. For 4 players, it tells you how many cubes go in the bag. And so you'll take them out of this bag here, shuffle them up, and put them in the spots located on the board. Also, you're going to have your point tracker here. Everyone's going to get this little 60-point marker, so if they make it to the top and have to go around, they can just keep this on them. They're going to have their own player board with all their number 1s, all their little travel tokens, and their little timepiece will be to the right of the feather there. If it's a second player will start with 1 grain. If it's a third player, they will grab a random cube from the bag. If it's a 4th player, they get to pick a color cube from the bag. And if you have a 5th player, they will get a coin. Alright, so how the game is played is very, very simple. What you're going to do is you're going to be grabbing a token, a cube, and taking the action. Also, I should mention you'll have all your goods over here that you'll be building, and then of course all the sell stalls over here up to, if you have 3 to or 4 or 5 players, you'll put ones there too. And they'll indicate on the board, 4 to 5 players where you'll need to use these spots. So, let's just go through each one of the actions here. The first one is, if you take over here, you just take a cube and you do your farming action. Your farming action says, hey, if you have 1 person on here, which I have plenty, but I would get 2 grain. Now, if I had a horse and a plow, which I have to build over here, I would get 3 grain. But if I had a cow and a plow, then I would get 4 grain. Now, you can't carry more grain than what you're indicated on the board, which is always 5. So anything extra you make will be thrown away. But that's making grain. Now, you can't do this action if you have no one on your farm. You can pull someone from the board and put them back onto your farm to do the farming action, but if you did that, there has to be someone living on your farm for you to take the action. Now, other things you can do. You can go here and go into the Abbey. And what you do is pick one of these cubes. Now, you see there are these black cubes around. If you ever pick a black cube, that is a plague, and you would move 2 on your time if you took a black. So black cubes will usually go last in all the areas there just because they're not very good. You'd probably just want to take one of the colored cubes and keep it in your area. Now, what you can do here, and it says here on the board, hey, for 3 time, or if you want to skip your time and use a brown cube, you can put one of your number 1 men in the bag. Now, there are 4 black meeples in here, so just keep that in mind that you're going to randomly draw people out of the bag at the end of the round and put them in the monastery here. But you can put one in for 1 brown cube, which I didn't have one, but if there was, I'll see, here's a brown cube. Let's say there was a brown cube right here. I could pick that brown cube and also use it to put my monk in there if I wanted to. But either way, I'd pay, let's say I pay 3 times, 1, 2, 3, and pay 3 times, and then I take one of my number 1s here, and I drop him in the bag like so. Now, this will come back at the end of the round. If I come over here, what I do is I take one, and I can add a relative to my farm here, and so I would add a number 2, and you're just going up in the levels 2, then 3, then 4. Over on here, there's a lot of things you can build. So when you take a cube, there's a few things. First off, it's going to cost you the time listed on the trees here. So this going here, it cost me 3 times, 2 times, 3 times, 2 times, and then on top of that, it would also cost me either time or resources to get the option. That 1 pink can give me a scroll. A pink and an orange can give me a plow. 3 grain can give me either a horse or a cow. A pink and an orange can give me a carriage. And then if I take 2 grain and take 2 time here, then I will also be able to transfer that into 2 coins. What coins are? They are, I believe, 1 victory point into the game, and you can cash them in for any random resource. It says on the board, 1 coin can be any random resource. All right, now you can also, for additional time, take one of your number 1s and plant them in that area. So for 2 time, 4 time, I can make one of these. Now going forward, whenever I place one here, I can either pay time or pay just the cubes. It's going to save me some time putting a man down here. So you may want to do that. Like I said, 4 time the first time, but after that, after 2 time, we already have a man here. We don't have to spend the extra 2 time. He can go ahead and make those vehicles for us. And same thing for all of these areas here. You can plant them there if you want to. That's the building area. Over here in the government area, you grab a cube, of course, you place one down. You're either going to use one of these little letters here, these scrolls here, to place them down, or pay 1 time and 2 greens. If I had 2 greens in 1 time, I could pay those, put it here. And then I would get the ring. What the ring symbolizes is you will be the first player in the next round. The round ends when all the cubes are gone. Right now, the first player will always start with the bird token, but whoever has the ring will get the bird token going forward. Now, anytime I grab one going forward, I can add a new one to the board or pay 2 more. Pay 2 time and 2 green, or just a scroll and move up again and get the reward listed at the bottom there. And as you're moving up, you're gaining those rewards. Now, at the end of the round, you'll also be getting the victory points at the top there, but that's for later. So, over on this one, the travel edge, you grab one of these cubes and you go traveling. Of course, you have to have a little caravan, certain color cubes, and you have to use 2 time to pass through those spots. But when you do, you're going to place one of your own markers here and put it down, and you have traveled there, and that's where you're at right now, and you gain the victory point or coin or whatever the reward is here. Now, at the end of the game, wherever many places you've been can gather you 1 to 18 points, depending on how traveled you are in the game. And then finally over here is the market stall. There's only one, but what it lets you do is any one of these blue stalls, there's 3 right now in a 2-player game, there'd be 4 in a 3-player game, and so on and so forth. But if you pick one up, then you can sell, like if I had 4 grains, I could sell that for 4 victory points. And then someone else could, all the other players get to do it as well, but the other players have to pay a green cube in 1 time to fulfill one of these orders. And they're just random orders, like this one's like a scroll and a cow for 5 points and whatnot. Now, they don't have to, but once that person takes that action, all players can make a sale as well, but they would have to pay the green cube in 1 time. Now, the only other place that's here is the whale. If you pay 3 cubes of the same color, you can do any action on the board. Any action on the board. Now, once, like I said, once the cubes are gone, then what you're going to do is you're going to decide, hey, who is going to the monastery? Who's going to go study in the monastery? And you're going to draw 4 meeples out of here. Now, you want one of yours to come out. So 1, 2, 3. Ah, there it is. And 4. Okay. So, but if another black one came out, my yellow one didn't come out, then I wouldn't have been selected. However, I can skip this and just pay 1 coin. Yes, the church takes bribes, obviously, and then put myself in there. And now at the end of the round, I'll be getting 2 victory points and another 2 victory points because I moved up here. Now, later on in subsequent rounds, when I take these cubes, instead of, I can put another man in there, and that's totally fine, or I can pay 1 grain, and this is for the expansion here, this bread is, so are these tools, that's for another expansion there, but I can pay 1 grain and move him up. Or the next time I do it, I pay 2 grain. The next time I do 4 grain. But there's something here about these number 1s. Eventually, as you're using up your time, you're going to pass over that feather. When you do, one of these people are going to die. So let's say I had a guy here, and it has to be one of your lowest levels. So if I had a few level 2s from earlier out, well, who could I kill now? Okay. Oops. Let's just put them all here. Let's put them like this. All right. I'd have to kill a number 1. I could kill one on my farm. I could kill one in the monastery. I could kill one in the mayor's office. But whoever I kill is going to go to one of 2 places. First off, they're going to go into this little book, the book of the ages, so to speak. And the anvil is for the workers. The farmers and some of the expansions are right here. And as you can see, it's located, it's locked for 2 to 3 players, or if you're playing the marriage one, you're going to open it up to these more. If it's the prayer thing, you see there's 2 or 3, depending on how many players is for. There's the mayor race, and there's the travel there. So this is one of the ways the game can end. If all the players have filled this up, per their player count, that's one way it can end. Or if these are all full, like let's say I died on the red track, but someone already put theirs here, and we're playing a 3-player game, and someone put theirs here. Well, I can't go here. That's for a 5-player game. So now my guy would have to go to the empty grave there. And so another way the game can end is if all of these graves are full up to their player count. Either condition, whether this book is full per player count or this grave is full for count, what you're going to do when someone, by the way, when someone grabs the last cube that triggers that, everyone else who has not gotten a turn will go ahead and get a turn, doing any action regardless of where there's a cube there. And then what you're going to do is add up these tracks again, all of these points here, and of course your travel points to see where you go. Also remember that any coins you have left over do count for a victory point, and whoever has the most victory points wins. Now that is the base game. If you want to play some of the expansions, you can. By the way, I should say there is a solo mode in here with a bunch of solo cards. I'm not going to go over that. But the next one is the Inn. Now in the Inn, you're going to put cubes associated to this. You're going to put these bar cards over this here, and you're going to put them in stacks of 3. And they look like so here. So let's say I just put 3 stacks here. And then you have 2 extra spots here. So taking one of these could either get you to the bar for a time, or over here to make beer for 3 time. Now, as you see, when you make 3 beer, you can actually put a brewer there for 6 time, and that way, whenever you spend it, you don't have to pay. You can only pay 3 time to get 2, or 3 of these to get beer or whatnot. If you have someone who's already working there. Over in the Inn, what you can do is if you have someone in the Inn, you can pay at a time, and then what you're going to do, you're going to look at these 3 stacks, you're going to take one of these cards to the bottom and then choose out of the 3. And what you're doing, you're paying 1 or 2 beers. Sometimes you're paying a coin too, and it'll tell you what you get. Sometimes the rewards are immediate. Sometimes if it's an empty ink bottle, that means end of the game. Now the rule book will tell you what each one of these means, but these are players that either have ongoing abilities or one-time abilities, and they're kind of self-explanatory. But that is the Inn. In the Harbor expansion, you're going to flip over this board. As you see, there's the little harbor icon. Now the road is gone. Now it is the sea. You have your own ship. You'll shuffle these cards into 3 decks of 1, 2, 3 coins. You're going to get one of these ships here. And now, when you take one of these cubes here, you're going to hopefully fill up your ship with 3 different items. That's what it says. The non-equal sign, it can be, good, 3 different types of goods here that you can land. Or you could put some grain on there if you wanted to. Or you could put one of your men on here if you wanted to. But it has to be 3 different types of goods. And they stay on there until you return home. So what this ship is doing, what you're going to do is, first off, when you grab that cube, you're going to pick one of these cards. And this is a captain paying 1, 2, or 3 coin. Now, of course, the more coin you pay, the better the captain. Because your first space to move is free. Of course, it'll cost a time if it has a time there. But then if you want to move again, it costs, on that same turn, you'll pay those 2 cubes. Or this one says, hey, you'll pay just 1 cube, and the colors are always different. Or this one says, hey, you first move free, and then you move 2 spaces for 1 cube. So the higher the captain, the better the call. Now, when you make it back to port, you can take a cube, and wherever you're at, you can just move it back to port. When you do that, you discard your captain to the bottom of the deck, and next time you take the travel action, you have to take another captain, buy another captain again. But each one of these spaces can give you payment for any goods you are carrying. If you want to pay the cubes, you can place a man down there and get the victory points. And you can also, where paying down here can get you some, I can't remember, the cinnamon spice or whatever. This one's a treasure chest. Once you get it, you can load it onto your ship, all of these goods that you can get, you can load onto your ship. You don't receive the goods until you bring your ship back, and like I said, you just do that as a callback action. You just call your ship back. And when you do, these type of items, these are premium goods. They can be sold in the market anytime for 1 green and 1 time, as it says here, giving you 7 or 5 points in a coin. And the treasure chest is just random, a bunch of coins. It can be 3, 5, 1, depending on what type of treasure chest you're getting. You may look at the treasure chest when you load it into your boat, but you're not getting the coins until you make it home. And basically, that's how you score points in the Harbor expansion. Now, I should also say this one only goes to 30 points. So what it does, this little point tracker here has a 30. So once you get to 30, you could put this. And when you pass it again, you get to 60. So that's the Harbor expansion there. The final expansion is the Marriage expansion. What you're going to do is assign cubes here and here, depending on the number of players. If you take a cube from here, for 2 time and a green, you may pay any number of resources, get 2 victory points each. The bread and the tools are worth nothing at the end of the game, so here you can cash them in for money if you need them. Over here, you can pay 1 cube and sell anything in the brown market on the main board, or pay 1 time and get 2 different color cubes of your choice. If you're going to get married, this is the big expansion here. You take this coin and get any one of these rewards that you want. Now remember, the further up you are, the more likely you're going to get married. But of course, the lower the reward. So if I go up here, oh, that's a great reward. But if another player comes down here and here and here, they could get married before me. Depending on the number of players, you could have 1 or 2 weddings. Depending on, like I said, if it's full player count, you're going to have 2. I think it's 3 or 4. If not, then you're just going to have 1 wedding. But you're also going to put a generic pink person on the board. Each round you'll roll this. and they'll go like this one's green, so it'll go to green. However, if there was someone on green, it would just go to the one behind it. And at the end of the round, no matter how many people are here, if it's a, let's say, 3-player game, only a 3 or 4 player, only one person is going to get married, and they're going to move right up here. And what they're going to do is they're going to roll this little triangle again, depending on where they go. It'll tell them which hut to go to, and they get their reward. It's going to be cubes or grain and one of these extra tokens, or 2 of that token. What do hammers do? Hammers give you double the building points. So if I wanted to build another cow or a carriage or whatnot, I could use one of my tools and get 2 times that amount. Of course, if I go to bread can be used to go up the monk track. And also, if you add a bread underneath one of your players, this player is now a 2 now. Now, you can't add multiple layers of bread to one character, but it could keep this number 1 or number 2 alive a little bit longer in the game, because every time you're spending that time going around the board, you have to kill one off. So, again, you'll get your reward, and then you'll go to your hut, where, and if it's another player, let's say this is blue player, then both of us would receive a person at the beginning of the next round. If it's not, then it'd be just me. Now, if someone does die, here, like if it's a number 1, eventually they have to die, there are spaces on the marriage track, and some extra spaces open when you're playing the marriage expansion, where you can put them in the book after they're dead. And then what would happen is, let's say that was blue player there. If I died, then blue player, they'd be all alone. They'd go back to the farm. Now, if you did not, what if you didn't get chosen? There's just one marriage and there's just one more person. Maybe blue and pink got married before me. Dang, I shouldn't have taken the coin. They got the better rewards and they moved up further. So what happens to me? Well, I go down here, and I'm going to pay any cube I want for either a bread or a tool, and then I'm going to go back to the farm and try again next year to get wed. But that is the wedding expansion. I should mention there's also a bunch of promo tiles in the game with extra tiles for any of the expansions. But one of the little mini modules here you can play is goals. What you'll do is you'll shuffle this deck, give 1 to each player, and once they have these goals, like if someone has the ring, a scroll, and both of these cubes, they just have to reveal this and they get the victory points. And basically, that's the game. Final thoughts. What do you think about the game? Well, I've been looking at this game for, well, not that long. On and off. I played My Village a long time ago, absolutely hated it. And then the guy who had told me to play it said, no, Village, just Village. And it took me forever, but I finally played it, and yes, it's fun. Now, I played it twice as of this video. And I went full hog, man. I went all the expansions all at once, probably a little much. Overall, the game is a lot to consume. It's really hard to balance your time and what all you want to do. It's really aggravating that the number 1s have to die. It's, the marriage expansion is why I got this one. The old version has way better art, but this one has all the promos and a new expansion, so I had to get it. But that marriage expansion, I can't play without. I think the marriage expansion is a must. It's really going to help you out and do a lot more actions than you can without it, in my opinion. It's a pretty wonderful game, but it's like I said, after my second time, I am still wondering how to get the points. Now, I love it because there's a lot of people who don't want their characters to die. And so they'll do all these little actions and try to conserve time and do what they can. But the thing is, they will not win. They will not win. My nephews were refusing to let their people die or slowly killing them off or whatnot. I think they had maybe 3 deaths at once or 2 or 3 deaths each until the game ended. But I had all the graveyards full. I got tons of, I blew by them at the end. It was pretty close the whole game, but I blew by them in the end with my in-game points and stuff on having people in the Chronicle book. And that's really what you need, on top of some other things. But there's a million different strategies you can use to score points in it. I don't even feel like I've explored it all at this point even. But it is good enough for me to keep in my collection, keep playing a little bit more, because I do enjoy it. Now, should you get the big box? No, you need to wait and see. Look over it all. If it's something for you, that's fine. Like I said, the old edition looks a ton better. The artwork's just so beautiful in that one. This one, I'm not much for it. But the thing is, this one does come with everything, and I do want to play with everything when I get it. So for me, the big box is fine. All right, gamers, that's all the time I have for now. Till next time, game on.